All right, we are live for the first time after the summit. I was going live every single day. I was doing a podcast. I was documenting the process. Fell off a little bit at the end because I'm just going to be honest with you. It was a little insane, but I have my partner in crime, my partner in motivation, my partner in helping me. He's been a mentor for me. I've been a mentor for him. It's very bi-directional, but he is a partner in the final percent. I need to welcome Andre Hollywood, DJ Wiseman, Joe!
Woo! Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
That's awesome. Well, so I had this idea because I've been wanting to get you on a podcast for a while. And so you guys know, we're going to put this, the video up on YouTube. This is going to go out on my podcast. So if you are just listening to it, trust me, I guarantee you this is probably one you're going to want to go over to YouTube and just watch whatever we come up with, because he's been one of my best friends for almost 2 decades. I respect him immensely as a musician, as a friend, as a father. I mean, he's that dude. And I've been wanting him on a podcast actually pre-summit, and we just couldn't make it happen because we were spinning plates. But I had this idea because I know that everybody who is really, really into the final percent, and when I say into the final percent, I'm talking about the inner circle, the people who make it happen, the people who are, driving the initiative forward, the people who care, the people who, fly the TFP flag, if you will. We're all asking the same question, everybody, because there's a lot of people who keep asking me this question. I don't quite know how to answer it. Right. So I'm going to ask this question to Hollywood, and then we're just going to discuss this question. The question is, what's next?
Man, the only the way, and we talked about this, the only thing that we can do since we set the bar, like the bar has been set, there's no going backwards at this point in time.
Exactly.
So the only thing to do is, we assess everything that happened from this TFP Summit to see, hey, what worked, what connections were made, what can we do better, how can we be more efficient with things, getting feedback from a lot of the participants that were there, the people that, that joined us at the event. It's like, what can we do now to make this better, make this bigger, make this more efficient? And I think from this point where we go is we obviously build and we expand. I mean, there's so many good people that we, got in contact with, that we made some great connections and want to do further business with, that's going to help the overall vision and the cause, So it's funny, man. Like, it's like, where do we go from here? Well, the only thing that you can do from this point is that we put the foundation down, we build some bricks. Now we have to keep on building, until we get to that skyscraper,
Well, and it's funny because there's a lot of the other speakers, and I don't think a lot of the speakers knew what we were building.
Right.
Because they showed up and they were like, what? This is your event? Like, yeah, we did this.
Yeah.
We kept saying, just so that you guys know, like, we swung for the fences. I feel like we hit a home run.
Oh yeah.
And we
bottom of the ninth. You called your shot. You called your shot, Dave Ruth style.
But Hollywood and I so just so you guys know, he is on Instagram. I am DJ Wiseman. He is Andre Jones. He is a coach in TFP. He is a speaker who just, again, knocked it out of the park again. However, I am not going to be able to break my habit of calling him Hollywood.
Yeah.
way back in the day, like literally 15 years ago, we were doing music in Phoenix and stuff, and a lot of people called him Hollywood. And so if I say Hollywood, just so you guys know, I am talking about Andre Jones, aka I am DJ Wiseman. But
you know what that's like, G? You know, that's like, it's like if you have there's like a nickname for a sibling or whatever. I mean,
yeah.
Hollywood's like my nickname for my sibling, you know?
Yeah, that's like me just saying my brother.
Yeah.
Like, that's literally.
Yeah.
But it was interesting going through the process of, you know, managing the logistics, getting things across the finish line. And we kept even looking at each other. And I think this is important for everyone to know. Yes, we wanted to swing for the fences. We swung for the fences. And a lot of entrepreneurs, just so you know, everybody out there who thinks that entrepreneurship is sexy because it's glamorized, they are wrong. Anyone who's saying entrepreneurship is sexy and easy, they are lying to you 100%. Right. We were stressed. We were excited, but we were stressed. But when we looked at each other after all was said and done, there was one phrase that we kept looking at each other, whether it was my wife, whether it was Mitch, it was Valfred, it was Salo, it was Hollywood, it was Eileen. We're looking at each other and we would literally just look at each other and go, we did that shit.
You did that shit.
I should have waited and just like, because I know you would have gotten it, because we literally just looked at each other. I got goosebumps, man. But we kept looking at each other so many times, like, we did that shit.
Yeah.
And it was something we could be so proud of. And it is something that is so exciting that, you know, we want to share it with the world. That's why we didn't let people sell from stage. That's why we felt like it was much more like entrepreneurial church. Like, come in there, get a message, get your life changed, go use it on the world, you know, and if there's a connection to be made. And there's something when I was talking to Ben Humble, who, shout out Ben, that guy, super genius at real estate. He ended up, he didn't expect to speak on stage. He came to just support us. And I said, hey, you want to get on stage and just, you know, drop some knowledge? You know, he pulled the pin on the grenade and threw it in a pile of a bunch of other grenades and blew the stage up.
Yeah, he did.
And we knew that he was going to do that, but he invited me to go talk to his mastermind, the council, I think it's called. He has like 6 of them. It's nuts. But I talked to him. And he said, you know, what is the one kind of roadmap and rule that you use? And so here's the big thing that I'm trying to do. And I'll pull the curtain back a little bit so everyone can understand, is every relationship follows this pattern. Every single one. You get attracted to someone, that's surface level. We're up here. Ooh, I'm attracted to this person. They're doing cool things. They have flashy things. They talk real nice, whatever it is. Then you get connected to someone. That's your depth. You're going down. You're super, super connected. And then after you get really connected to someone, you have to commit to something. And so the thing is, me, Eileen, Kayla, Salo, Valfred, Drew, everyone from KMG, everyone who made this happen, we were all attracted to each other for some reason. Yep. Then we were very connected to each other. And then we committed to making this event happen. So now we have attracted a bunch of new people to the final percent.
Yeah.
You use this word, all of the connections that we made, all the connected people that we now have. What do we commit to now?
Right.
And so one of the things that, Hollywood and I've talked about this, that we're going to do, I think, you know, I don't have it written on my board anymore, but I have them. I think they're already up on the TFP website. But we decided, you know, we need to dominate Phoenix. Mm-hmm. We need to dominate Vegas, and we need to dominate Denver. And we need to help people with this thing called personal growth. So what we're committing to is one event in each city per quarter. So I think the first one's January 15th in Phoenix. Now, to be super clear, everybody, this is not an event the size of what you just saw.
Right.
This is a get together. This is to make sure we're keeping the community strong. Hollywood and I are already looking for real estate out there in Phoenix to have a TFP headquarters in Phoenix, one in Las Vegas. I've been talking to Ben and Natalia. They just bought a $2.5 million house right off the strip, and we're going to hold the masterminds in their new Airbnb in Las Vegas.
Yeah. Nice.
And also, they're like the most connected people in the entertainment scene in Vegas. And I don't know if you guys know this, but there is, in fact, a lot of entertainment in Vegas.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. So we're going to do those all leading up to the next summit that we have decided is going to be in Denver again, just because we wanted to initially, what if we did this in Phoenix? Because we have so many connections there. Yeah. And then we realized, you know, all of our big connections for production, which is super expensive, are all here. And if we want to take them to Phoenix, our event gets about 3 times more expensive. We're not there yet. At some point, we're taking this on tour.
That's what I was just getting ready to say. Imagine when we go on tour.
Oh, I know. And it's going to happen because people need that. So, you know, with the What's Next, we're going to create this community. One of the things that I really want to talk about the What's Next side of things is I think we can all say that also the Purple Explosion, the album, was a hit.
It was.
Everyone loved it. I mean, we're still getting close to 1,000 plays a day, still, with almost no
promo,
zero promo,
no marketing.
So talk me through, like, because you wrote so much of the album with me on that and did so much of the music and sang and performed it. Going into this next album, you know, what's next? What's new? What's the mindset? Is there a shift? Is it more of the same? How are you approaching your creative process in a way that only you can for this next album?
So, you know, going into the first album, you know, a lot of it was just, you know, well, originally, of course, when we were doing the album, it was, we were going to connect it to
theories,
you know, theories and stuff like that. So that's why we had a lot of the one word songs for the name, because it was like the Lighthouse. You had the Lighthouse series that we're still working on the Lighthouse series and Bridge and so on and so forth. I think this next time around, the mindset for me is I want to, first of all, make the production a lot bigger and more uniform as a whole for the album. And a lot of the songs, I want to make sure that we're all involved on each and every song. So it's, you know, there's consistency in what you're hearing. It's going to be, the way I look at it, it's more of a consistent movie work of art.
Oh yeah. Okay. Tells the story a little bit.
It tells the story a little bit more in uniform. Because even though we had a lot of great people contribute songs here and there, I think if we can take people through an emotional a roller coaster per se, and it's all just, it's like a movie.
Yeah.
And I think it'll hit a little bit different this time around than the Purple Explosions, you know, but it's just like we're building on everything, you know. That's where my mind's at from a creative standpoint. I want it to be big. I want it to be, you know, at least you already heard kind of where I was going with that first song.
Yeah. Oh my guys, I'm telling you, if you do not follow this man, he also, and just to make things make a little bit more sense, I'm doing the same thing. So all of my like technical music stuff, guys, just so that you know, is going to be on KMG Life Inc.'s Instagram. You'll still see some of the motivational stuff, but when it gets into the really technical stuff, I'm going to put over there the behind the scenes songwriting, production. When it gets technical for Hollywood, he actually just made a new Instagram as well, that if you really want to dig into who he is and how he makes the music, what is that one, just so that they know how to find it?
Wise Man Music. It's just under that, Wise Man Music, WYZEMAN Music.
Okay, and remember, Wise is WYZE, correct?
Yes.
WYZE. So
we couldn't just make it real normal, you know?
No. That's like me saying KMG Life on the phone, and they're like, KMG Live? I'm like, no, Life.
Yeah.
KNG? No, MG. And I'm like, man, I got to change my name. This is phonetically the hardest thing to say on the telephone.
Yeah.
So now, so I've got two more things that I would love for you to kind of talk about.
Sure.
Number one, it seems like you had some sort of shift happen at this summit.
Yeah.
I'm interested from a speaker, a concept creator, what shifted in you and kind of where are you at right now? Because, it's a creative is a little bit like the ocean. It has tides.
Yeah.
And I think that your tide is kind of coming back to the ocean. And I think people are about to get a wave. And I'm just interested on, because I mean, before we went on this podcast, guys, he was telling me all the books that he had, and I finished this one, and I finished this one, and I did this one, and I got this one, and I got this one, and I got this one. I was like, okay, like, wow. So help me understand what shift happened from being a speaker, a coach, everything like that.
Yeah. So prior to the summit, I spoke at the previous summit, which was my first speech,
and stole the show. And
Thank you.
stole the show. All right.
Yeah. And
the show.
That's what I'm talking about.
I'm telling you, man, this man came in and just everyone could only look at him and go bars. It was incredible.
And I think here's the difference, because when I spoke that, and I'll get to where we're going with where that shift happened, because the first time that I did it at the summit, it felt more like amongst friends. It felt like I was just in a safe space, and we're performers anyway, so
yep.
I'm gonna perform regardless, but it was more in a safe space. So I didn't really feel as much, I guess, pressure to just kind of talk about my story. And I was already starting that journey, talking about frequency and stuff. And when we really started putting it together, so it just kind of happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
So after I got through that, and that was the time frame where there's a lot of change happening in my life, a ton of change. So I left my job shortly after that, and we were talking about these concepts about pressing the restart button. How do you press the restart button safely? All of these things. So throughout this whole entire time frame of when the last summit ended, up until the point where we decided that we were going to do this summit as big as we did, there was such a uncertainty that I had about myself leading into it. So just to be completely honest, Greg. Man, I put this man Greg through a lot, and that's only because of my own. I still would go through some self-limiting behaviors, because that's something that I've had for so long, that so many people go through. There's a lot of self-limiting behaviors. There's a lot of self-worth that people still need to work through, that I'm working through. Yeah. I was working through. So trying to go into a new, trying to leave my job and start over, basically in my midlife, it was a lot that I went through. So leading up to the summit and going through these ebbs and flows of trying to really figure myself out and have and believe in myself and believe in what we're doing. And then when it finally happened, leading up to it, because there was so much that we did, it finally happens. You see the final product. It's just like what you're probably going through, with having the new baby. It's like the baby is there. You're like, I'm going to be a dad. I don't know if I'm going to be a great, I don't know how this whole thing is going to work out. So you have, that you have greatness in you, but then there's just that uncertainty and that unknown of what is going to happen after the baby is there. And then you're thinking so far ahead because it's something new. It's something that you've never done, right? You've heard about it. You can ask as many questions as possible, but until you actually experience it, you don't, there's a belief, that is potentially lacking, which is what happened to me. So leading up to the summit, we get there, we step into the doors, bro. Remember my face? We step into the doors and I'm like, we did this shit. So then after that, you know, coming into my speech, I had to change my, remember I changed my speech because it was gonna originally be lighthouse concepts. And I changed my speech like 2 days prior. And I was kind of nervous because you see all of these people that are on the docket, you know, it's like 17 speakers that this is what they do. You see Sharon, you got Tim Story, you got Michael Burt, you got all these people that are just, you know, phenomenal what they do. And you're like, hell, like, am I good enough? And this is part of, again, that self-worth. Am I good enough? Like, am I, you know, qualified enough? Are these, you go into that self-doubt, that, you know, doubting yourself and not believing in yourself. And that's what happened at that point. But then once people started speaking, right, I was like, oh, okay, I think I'm gonna be okay. Then I get on stage, and, you know, again, once we get on stage and the spotlights are on us, it's all systems go. Yeah. So I did my speech. It was well received.
Very well.
It's very well received, and, you know, I'm getting feedback from our fellow speakers, our colleagues, and then just people that attended and bought a ticket and were telling me, you know, how my speech impacted them. And again, this is outside of the safe space that we had at the TFP Summit, because I felt like we knew everybody, you know, the most people knew a lot of people there. So it's outside of that comfort that we had, now into more of an open arena where I'm getting all of this feedback about what, you know, my you know, what I was able to, my speech and how I was able to impact people. And then I was like, okay, I can do this. I can do this. And then after that, having some conversations with some of the other speakers, and, you know, one of the things that we've had conversations about is, you know, I don't have all of my shit together. You know, it's like, I've always felt where it's like I have to be perfect in a sense to be able to give a message, when that's not even the truth. It's like everybody's going through stuff. And even though you're giving a message, that actually makes you a lot more qualified to be able to give a message, because when
you're dealing with stuff.
You're dealing with stuff, and when you can identify it and know how to navigate through the stuff that you're going through, that's when you're able to, you know, relate it to other people. And if you can communicate it, then you're doing your job, you know. So after that, that's where the shift happened. It's like, okay, well, you know, I can do this shit. You know, we set a goal. I think we exceeded the goal.
Yeah.
You know, we impacted lives, and now where do we go from here? You know, so that's where my shift happened. It's like, once the summit happened and I had a full, it's, you know, I know you talk about where it's like knowing the difference between how people think you have to see it before you believe it, or believe it before you see it, you know, Santa Claus. So, you know, I was kind of
believing is seeing. Believing is seeing, not seeing is believing.
Right, exactly. So I at a fault was kind of there with that little bit of, I need to kind of see it, because there's still that level of certainty that, you know, that I have, that you know, I there's just, it's like in me, I need a little bit of certainty. I hopped off the cliff, I took action, but there's just certain things where it's like,
certain things I gotta know what's
down there. Do is it look, it's like, do I have access to feathers? Yeah. If I have access to feathers and I know I can fly, okay, we're good. I just you know, I have feathers.
And I think that's one of the things that makes this group of people so different, because we are very much a group of people that does what I call tell our story from the middle. And there's a lot of people out there who are only telling people like, oh, check out my perfect food, my perfect car, my perfect life.
Right.
And that becomes their identity. So if something bad happens to them, they can't say anything. And so it causes depression. They bury it down.
Yeah.
But on the complete flip side, there's people out there who, you know, my boss doesn't pay me enough. My mom doesn't do this. My dad doesn't do this. My wife doesn't do this. But they're pitiful. So they have a pity party. But then when something good happens to them, they don't want to tell anybody because it doesn't align with their identity. And I think one of the things is, like you just heard, like, guys, this is someone who I respect and legitimately in so many different ways has been a mentor to me. And he's sitting there saying, hey, I'm trying to figure stuff out. I needed to believe. My foundation was getting rocked. And you need to understand that there are so many more people out there going through that
Right.
than you know. You want people to be able to say, hey, you know, it's not all roses. I'm still trying to figure this out. And you know, I knew that I was on the right track because I remember when Boulder came down with its crazy mandates.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought to myself, because I still had so much to do for the summit and so much money to come up with, and logistically, how in the world am I going to do this? I thought Greg Kimball, Mr. Motivation himself, thought to himself, I hope Broomfield does those same mandates so that maybe I have a way out of having to go through with this conference because I'm scared.
Yeah.
And that's when I knew I was at the right place at the right time. That's when I knew I had gone as big as I needed to. That's when I knew I needed to keep going because, guys, we just talked about this in the Final Percent Network, which is a Facebook group. If you're not in that, please go there. It's just, you know, a holding tank of great people that can connect. It's just another structure of exchange, awesome ideas, different things like that. No one ever tries to sell anything. It's 100% free. But we just talked about that is fear is an indication of change. That's it. That level of certainty drops so low that you don't know what's around the corner. So you get scared. And that's what happened to me. That's what happened to Hollywood. And here's the thing that, you know, I was talking to my team because we had a lot of members where Andre would get scared. I was getting scared. I was literally hoping the government would shut me down. Guys, come on. Yeah. Like everyone goes through their stuff. But me having to, you know, go over and lift Hollywood up when he's going through his stuff lifts me up. And vice versa. Him having to talk to me. And here's the big thing that I can tell you. All you can do is the best you can do. And that's it. So here's the thing. If Hollywood did the best he could do, that's all he could do. That's 100% in my book. That's the final percent in my book. Yeah. If all I could do was the best I could do, but right now, if I believe more at that moment, it doesn't mean that I need to tell him I did more than you. No, I did the best I could do. You did the best you could do. There's going to be a moment when I fall on my face and I can't go 100%. And I'm going to need to look up and see someone else showing me what that looks like. And that's what teamwork's all about. It's that phrase, you know, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with the team. And we've got an amazing group of people here.
Yeah, it's funny because like when we were working on the music, there was a lot of times where we're picking each other up and creating that spark for each other to keep pushing on the music. You know?
Well, in faith, I mean, so people don't realize, like, if you go watch this on Instagram or YouTube or however this looks, I'm just doing screen recording, so you know I have no idea what we're gonna see, but what I do know is you're gonna see basically what Hollywood and I saw when we were writing the song Fear. Faith, yes, that's right. He wrote Fear by himself and has his girls on it. If you haven't listened to it, you're missing out. And coincidentally, it leads right into Faith, which is what I'm actually talking about. Yeah. But we wrote Faith and we went back and forth because we thought we had less time than we did. So we actually finished the album like a week ahead of schedule.
Yeah.
Which is probably in all reality, probably a good thing.
No, very good thing.
And well, it was a week ahead of everyone else's schedule, but it was right on time for my schedule because, you know, full disclosure, guys, I wanted this album to come out like 3 weeks earlier, and Hollywood was like, no, I think it needs to come out right when, like, the first night, the VIP dinner of the event. And I argued with him for a good 2 hours. Yeah. And he, again, I respect him so much. He challenged me so much. I was like, you know what? You're right. And we pushed it back, and it was 100% the right call. That's why you want to get a team where it's not a dictatorship. But Faith, this song, it was my final percent. I'm not kidding about this. It was my final percent to be able to get me across the finish line, to be able to pull this freaking thing off. because it's probably it's between that song and Prevail. Prevail, obviously, it started everything, and it's interesting because Faith finished everything. And Faith finishes. We talk about that.
Yeah.
And you know, we went back and forth, and then there were so many times where like I'm tired, Hollywood's tired, and I'm sitting here and I've got my microphone right here, and I'm like, okay, dude, I'm done. And he's like, okay, yeah, that's great, but before you go, why don't you just hit the harmony that's like way up here? And I'm like, dude. And so we're recording and we could see each other like this. We should have recorded those sessions.
Yeah.
You know, hindsight's always, but you know, Faith gave me the final percent to get me across the finish line. And I think it also showed you and I what real collaboration looks like.
Yeah.
Because it was one of like that song and Define from a collaboration standpoint are my favorite songs because we were all in the room. We needed each other's energy.
Right. Yep.
So I think that's important. So, all right, here's the last question that I have for you, and you're not gonna like this. Just so you guys know, I he hates when I do this because he has no idea where it's going.
No preparation whatsoever.
Well, to be fair, he didn't even have lights on. He was just kind of chilling. We were doing a catch up, and I'm like, I'm gonna start recording my screen. Let's do a podcast. And he's like, dude. I'm like, creature of action. Let's make it happen.
Yeah.
So here's. I want you. I know you've been working hard on this. It is October 21st. When does the first series of Lighthouse drop? Give me a hard date.
You want me to give you a hard date for the
hard date?
Series? First of the year.
First of the year. What if it was 33 days from now?
Oh man. How about dude, you gonna have this on record?
I mean, what are you gonna really do through like Christmas and stuff? You're a dad, man, and you're hands-on. Here's another thing, guys. I am gonna, he just doesn't give himself enough credit. I'm gonna get him to do like a whole dad series because I'm not gonna lie, before Kayla got pregnant, I remember we were all doing karaoke in Andre's house.
Oh yeah.
And he was doing a duet with his daughter. And by the way, his daughter's a fantastic singer. And he came over, we were drinking some, I think 25-year-old Belvini.
Oh man.
Belvini.
Yeah.
It just needs to be our one. Instead of us constantly trying to find a new one, let's just do that.
Just stay with the Belvini.
Let's just go there.
Yeah, let's go there.
And he came.
However, how is that what we had at the summit?
That was the Grand Cru. That was good.
You mean one of those two? The one glass that I got. Oh, are we putting that on the podcast? Oh, that's right, we're live.
All right, I owe you a bottle. And it's funny because we do have that. Anytime we come to each other's cities, we'll go somewhere and we'll get a really nice bottle of scotch. Well, I just happened to have the scotch and I wasn't sharing it with anybody but Hollywood. But for whatever reason, like at the end of the thing, everyone's like hitting me and doing this, that, and the other, blah, 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 blah. And I just kept it with me because I didn't want like anyone drinking it, apparently not even Hollywood. So I just drank the whole. Yeah, that happened. But anyway, he comes over. I'm looking at him, and for anyone who doesn't know, Kayla and I went through a really, really bad miscarriage, and we had been trying to have a kid, and I say this in zero like envy, guys, just to be very clear, but watching the magic of a father singing with their child and watching his daughter look at him like, you know, with not just adoration, but like, thank you for pushing me to be this singer, and sharing that moment, hearing those harmonies that I truly believe only a family can have. He came over to fill up his glass and I was just kind of looking at him and I was smiling. Yeah. And I just told him, I said, you are the richest person alive. That that moment makes you literally the absolute richest person alive. And I'll tell you, this guy, the way he treats his family and his daughters, and he guides them, I will get him to do a how to be a dope dad. How to be a dope dad. I feel like that's kind of a
dope dad. Dope
dad. or especially in the world that we live in, creatives are incredibly hard to deal with.
Yeah.
But also being a girl dad.
Yeah.
And I just think that, I mean, you're in a house all the time with 3 women.
Yeah.
Like all the time. And you are, I'm just telling you, man, you are a beacon. You're a lighthouse for how a lot of people need to be behaving. And in 33 days, why I say this is because he's such a hands-on father. He's not going to be doing any of this over Christmas. He's not going to be doing any of this over Thanksgiving because family's going to be in. And I hear 33
All right. You hear it here first. 33 days, we'll have the Lighthouse series done.
Boom!
We go the final percent.
We go the final percent. So, and I'll tell you guys, we'll drop the because he did like a trailer recently when we were going to try to do the huge conference and write the album and then shoot and edit 14 different series, because certainly that was maybe a little bit too ambitious. But his concepts for the Lighthouse are fantastic. And if you guys have not heard the song Lighthouse, and guys, just so you know, we put all of the lyrics in every single song. So if you go on Apple Music or Spotify, you can read along with the lyrics, and you can see how much energy, effort, and thought and intentionality went into writing these songs. And Lighthouse was one of our first big productions when we knew there was something special happening. Yeah. And for anyone who thinks that I'm I've always been Mr. Motivation and this, that, and the other, I'm telling you, when I was in Phoenix and I was trying to do my businesses, and I've always been an entrepreneur for sure, but Hollywood's been not just a friend, but a huge mentor for me for a very long time. So I'm telling you, who this guy, when he finally allows the world to see who he really is on the magnitude that I know him, I am damn proud to stand next to this person, call him a partner. So just know the Lighthouse series, 33 days. 33 days. I like it. That's what I'm talking about. So now what he's going to do, he's going to be like, Greg, just put that podcast out in like 10 days.
Absolutely. Nobody knows the date right now.
Nobody knows that it's December 25th right now.
Let's count 33 days to January 1st.
Oh, well, anyway, Hollywood, Andre, DJ Wiseman, I thank you from the bottom of my heart, and thank you so much for doing the impromptu podcast. I know that I'm a force of nature, man. I just kind of keep going. But this is all great information, and it helps people know who you are. And just thank you so much. And I definitely love you more.
Oh, man. See? Well, more, dude, I really, honestly, from the bottom of my heart, appreciate you, love you. I mean, we love on each other. That's just part of the TFP brand. It's like it's the family. It's like we love on each other as much as possible. It's a special thing, so you know how I feel about you. I love you, Kayla, Mama Kimball. Finally met Papa Kimball.
Yeah. The dude who likes to run himself over after having a heart attack. He goes the final percent.
But yeah, man, I appreciate it, and more to come.
All right. Cheers, man. Thank you so much.
Sir.
It's the final percent. The final percent.